Have you ever wondered how so many people are able to work online, what steps they took to land their remote online job, and whether or not a remote job is sustainable in the long run? Well, stick around because in this video, I'm going to be discussing all of that. Plus, at the end of the video, I'll also be revealing a unique strategy to land a remote online job that A, nobody is talking about, and that B, opens the doors to a variety of different job opportunities, not just in the tech field, but for everyone. What is up, guys? This is Brett here from brettdev.com and welcome back to the channel. Now, today in this video, I want to talk about how people land their jobs online. So I've got a free community called Nomad School, and recently I went in there and I did a poll and I asked people, how did you land your remote job online? I got so much information, so much feedback come back from our members that I thought it'd be a great idea to share it as a video. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to go through the top 3 ways that people have managed to secure remote work online. And like I said, right at the end, I'm going to be sharing with you a special bonus resource, so stay tuned. So one of the ways that people said that they secured their remote jobs, and this is not surprising, is they basically said they went from working their regular day job to doing it online. Now, it was surprising to me that this was not more common than it was. This is one of the least common ways that people actually secured remote work. I thought it would be really common because of what happened during COVID, right? So during COVID, they had, this whole work from home movement.
Protests don't work. Protests are not smart. They're not lawful.
And so many people transitioned from the office to working from their home. Now, a lot of people took that one step further and thought, well, if I'm working from home and the boss doesn't want me in the office, this COVID thing is going to go on forever. That's how it was made out to seem. I'm going to just pack up and I'm going to go and live in a foreign country. Now, I shouted from the rooftops about this on this channel for the entire 2 years, and I've always been talking about this. I never thought that that was a very good idea because I kind of foresaw that this was not going to go on long term, and bosses, companies were not going to be happy to have their employees just working from a foreign country or working from home long term. Lo and behold, that has come to pass. Now, there is a massive movement now to get people back into the office.
The push by employers to bring workers back into the office may be having a reverse effect.
And all of the people during COVID who basically, were allowed to work from home and took the step to move to a foreign country and become digital nomads, for example, or expats, they are now screwed, right? I can't imagine how many people out there are now facing the decision or have already faced the decision to either go back home and get their ass back into the office, as the boss says, or to essentially quit or be fired. It's like I said, I warned about it. I was screaming about it on this channel for years whilst it was happening. I said that is not a good way to go about it. And based on this survey, people have done it that way, but it is the least popular way to do it. Now, I suppose if you do have a job and you can kind of converse with your boss and convince them to let you work remotely or let you work abroad, then great, that's awesome. There's a really good book that I first read when I first came to Thailand. It was called Remote, and it was written by Jason Fried and David Hanmeyer Hansen. And it's all about taking your regular job and going remote with it, right? And there's strategies in that book. There's tips and techniques that you can give to your boss. You could even buy a copy for your boss to argue the case for why it's actually more beneficial for your company that you work remote. Employee happiness, productivity, basing pay based off of performance rather than just sitting in a chair at a desk. I'd highly recommend, if you plan on trying to transition from your regular job to a remote job by convincing the people you work for, get a copy of that book. Get a copy of the book Remote. Buy 2 copies, get one for yourself and get one for your boss. But, if your boss is a bit of a dick, then maybe don't. You might get fired just for even suggesting it. But if you've got a nice boss, then that's a good strategy. That's a good way for you to implement this strategy. But like I say, in the community, when I did this survey, this was surprisingly the least most common way that people actually landed a remote job online. Now, the second most common way that people were able to secure a remote job and land a job online was through networking and referrals. Now, I've been living out here in Thailand for nearly 10 years. I know a lot of people that work online. This is a digital nomad hotspot. And I've met many, many people that get work through networking and referrals. Now, if you don't have a network, this isn't a very helpful suggestion. I get it. Because what I'm basically talking about here is, friends of friends, family, Maybe you've worked in companies before and you're good at what you do, and you just reach out to those companies and I say, have you got any jobs for me? And they'll pass on the work. I see that happen quite a lot, actually, in person with people that I know. But yeah, if you don't have a network, if you don't have anybody that can offer you a remote position, fear not. Okay, you can get started on building your network today. Okay, so it's so powerful. We all know this. You are the value. You are the value of your network. There's a quote out there, something like that. But your network's powerful. That's what I'm trying to say. And if you can build a network, opportunities will, rise to the surface, and you'll find that this could actually be an easy way to land a good remote online gig. So a couple of ways you can build your network is, firstly, start joining free communities. Okay, there are a ton of free online communities. I have one of them. It's called Nomad School. That's where I did the poll for this video. If you're not a member of Nomad School, you can sign up for free by going to nomadschool.com. Link will be in the description, and you'll probably see it on the video as well. But yeah, you can go in places like Nomad School. You can start to build your network. You can go in there. You can just chat to people. You can tell them what you do. We have a thread on there saying, what do you do? And, it's a great way to get connected. Of course, my community, Nomad School, isn't the only option. There are a ton of free online communities out there and also paid communities out there. So go join Nomad School, first off. Secondly, try and join some communities in the industry that you want to get into, that you want to work in, right? So what always makes me laugh is about paid groups, paid courses, paid communities and things like that. So many people are so hesitant to maybe pay money for a program or to enroll in an online course. A lot of these paid programs, mine included, they come with online communities, right? And I've seen so many people actually get hired by the creators of these programs, or just network and get jobs inside of those communities, right? So anybody that's offering a program online, free or paid, if it comes with a community, seriously consider joining it, right? Because like I said, 99% of people just don't want to pay for anything these days. And the 1% that do, they get real good exposure there that most people are missing out on, okay? The last way to build your network is, of course, LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a great place for professionals to network and connect. There's so many features available to it now. I remember back in the day, it was just create this weird little profile as a CV and kind of link to it. Now they've got job searches, job functionality. People reach out to you. Recruiters are on there like crazy, always trying to recruit people. I get so many offers from LinkedIn. It's a really, really good place to kind of get your name out there and to network. So that was the second most popular way that people were able to secure a remote gig online. The most popular way, however, out of all the suggestions that I made, was job boards and online platforms. Over the past 10 years, there have been so many job boards that have sprung up that specialize specifically in remote work. Now, a lot of these job boards do cater to the tech industry, granted, but like I said at the start of the video, I'm going to share with you something at the end of the video that caters to more than just the tech industry, okay? So keep watching to find out what that is. But on the topic of remote job boards, there are a few remote job sites that I would highly recommend you go and check out, okay? Now, not all of these are catering to the tech field. There are some other categories on these sites, but the first one is remote.io. Now, remote.io covers, a broad range of tech jobs, as do most of these sites. But it does have some non-tech roles as well, okay? It's got a pretty straightforward interface. It's really easy to navigate, and I'd highly, highly recommend it if you're looking for a remote job. The second is very similar to remote.io. It's remote.com. It's not the same site. It's a separate business. But remote.com is focused more on companies who are trying to build teams and distributed teams, okay? So this is really facilitated on long-term employment. These are companies that want to set up a remote team that they can establish and that can work for them long-term. If you're looking for something like that, then remote.com could be a really good place to check out. The last site on this list is flexjobs.com. Now, this site is a paid site and it caters to both long-term and part-time remote work. But like I said about the paid programs, if you are really serious about getting a remote job, pull your credit card out, spend I think this is $15 or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. But pull your credit card out, spend $15 for a month and just separate yourself from 90% of people who don't want to sign up and don't want to pay for anything. If you think about it, if 90% of people just are only scanning these free remote job sites, they're in a pool of 90% of the other 90% that are all competing for the same jobs. Pulling your credit card out, spending a little tiny bit of money and getting exclusive access to private listings that, are off limits to those that don't pay is a really easy thing to do. And sets you up for much more success when it comes to landing a remote online job, right? So that's flexjobs.com. I'd highly recommend you check that out. The free sites I just mentioned, remote.io, remote.com, and flexjobs.com. Now, all of the links to these will be down in the description below, so you can scroll down there, you can click through, and you can check them out. Now, one thing I will say, when you are on these remote job sites, you need to be careful about hybrid jobs, and sometimes they're just listed as remote jobs. Okay, so you need to look into the specifics before you start applying. A lot of these companies will list their jobs on these sites, say they're remote or say they're hybrid, and they're not actually remote at all. Well, they are, but they're kind of not. So a hybrid job would be like, okay, you can work at home 3 days a week, but 2 days a week we want you in the office. So if you want to go out, if you want to be a digital nomad or you want to become an expat, like the people inside my community, then that's not going to be very helpful, is it? If you've got to be back in the office in the UK 2 days a week, if you want to come and live somewhere like Thailand, you can't really fly back once a week to go into the office. Some other remote jobs will say they're remote, but they won't be happy with you going outside of the country. So again, if you want to be a digital nomad, if you want to be an expat, that's probably not going to work for you. So just a word of caution to double check when you are looking at these jobs and to make sure they are actually remote. If it doesn't say it on the listing, if you can't find information about can I go and work in a foreign country, maybe do some research on the company. There's lots of sites like Glassdoor and things like that will do reviews for different companies. Glassdoor basically allows employees to review their employer and give them like a star rating, right? Go through the reviews. You'll see in there people will say, "Oh, this is a great job. I work abroad and they're totally happy with it." Blah blah blah. But yeah, just a word of caution when you are looking for a remote job on these job sites that not a lot of people are aware of. So those are the three main ways, based on my survey, that people have found remote jobs online. Transitioning from a regular day job to a remote position within the same company, networking and referrals, and using online job boards and finding opportunities online. Okay, I've gone through a bunch of different things that you can look at. I'll give you those websites, LinkedIn, etc. But one thing I haven't given you is that special site that not many people are aware of, and that is, believe it or not, Substack. That's right, Substack. You're probably thinking, what the hell, Substack? I thought that was a blog. Well, at least I thought it was a blog. I thought Substack was just where content creators went to write articles. Until somebody hooked me up with a link. The link is, let me find it for you, the precise URL. Well, it'll be down in the description anyway. It is nocommute.substack.com, right? So this is a Substack blog called No Commute. And to access this, it's so easy. Just go onto Substack, you sign up with your email address, and it's free. And every single day, this Substack account lists thousands of remote positions in all different areas, right? Not just tech, marketing, sales, administrative, all different. I mean, they're going to be tech jobs to some degree. They're not going to be listing like construction jobs, obviously, but it's not just tech. It's not just programming jobs and stuff like that, right? So it's absolutely amazing. You can go to nocommute.substack.com. You can sign up, and or I'll put a link in the description. And like I said, you'll get these emails come through to you on a daily basis. Now, the links in the emails, they link off to other job sites, but it's so handy because basically they're going through all of the sites, they're scanning all of the sites for you and just giving you a list of like all the popular ones that are coming out. And the good thing about it is because you're getting daily emails, all of these job opportunities are fresh and there's thousands of them, right? So they're updating it all the time. They're posting you new stuff and it's totally free. It's amazing. I didn't even realize, like, obviously, about job sites and things like that, but I didn't understand like that Substack was used like this. I thought Substack was just a blog. I'll need to start digging into Substack and see if there's any other cool stuff on there because yeah, it's really amazing. What a great idea, whoever created that. So there you have it, guys. Those are the most popular ways that digital nomads and expats secure jobs online. Before you dive into that, before you start trying to apply for a job online, there are some serious considerations that you need to take into account when it comes to remote work. So I have in the past not been the greatest advocate of getting a remote online job, and the reasons why are in this video right here. Very, very important. Do not start applying for remote jobs until you've watched this. Do me that favor. And if you do watch this, or if a remote job is just not for you and you want to go down the path of, blazing your own trail and doing your own thing, then you might want to check this out right here. This is my digital nomad framework. It's a step-by-step plan for creating your own online business and income. That's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.